time that this video reaches you, it's gonna be months later than when I recorded it. Probably at the very least 1 month later than when I recorded it. But it's fine because the whole incident that I'm gonna be talking about now has happened maybe 8 months ago, if not more. So by this point, even the trail to it has kind of gotten cold. Therefore, a bit more time on top of this is not gonna change anything. I do need to also tell you that corporations are not your friends. If you thought that corporations were your friends, you're probably really young. When you're dealing with indie game developers and studios of just a couple of people, at the very least, they will probably seem a bit more human. But by the time a gaming studio turns to hundreds and hundreds of people strong, more often than not, they are making the kind of decisions that drive the profits rather than consider you as a human being. I don't think that that is a surprise. I don't think that PaperGames slash Infold, because Infold is just their trading name for the Western audience. I think that is the trademark registered in UK. Actually, I was trying to dig whether they're paper games or whether they're Infold. So they're Infold for the Western market and they're paper games for the Chinese market. It's it's kind of all one company. I actually forgot where my sentence was going and I had to stop and look back at my own recording to figure it out. I don't think that they're any different than other big gaming companies. I'm putting this out there just to say that I'm not here to shit on like one specific corporation going, "Oh my god, they are in particular they're specifically very evil." No, there have been a lot of more corporations that have done a lot more evil decisions, mainly when it comes to things such as native populations getting access to water, Nestle slash Coca Cola, for example. There is also a lot of water trading going in California, for example, with one big corporation that has an orchard and pretends to have more water than they do and then not provide it inside emergencies. I'm not going to be talking about that, but just to make it clear, corporations tend to make evil decisions all the time. They don't see you as a friend, they probably don't see you as a smart individual, and it is not that uncommon to be dehumanized or otherwise discarded by a corporation. That shouldn't be a surprise if this isn't your first rodeo. The reason why I'm making this video right now is actually because I had to go on quite a bit of a chase for the topic that I'm gonna be speaking about, and just how many hoops I needed to jump to actually get the whole thing pieced together was impressive enough that I was like, okay, let's talk about this because we're already talking about this. So, first of all, let's start from the beginning. There was one person on my recent Infinity Nikki video. I am protecting their privacy. I don't know if they wanted their privacy protected, but I will protect their privacy and I will also not disclose which video just to make it easier to protect your privacy. They stated CEO was spotted having misogynistic words towards Infinity Nikki players and lads too. I'm trying to remember what the acronym stands for. Love in Deep Space. There we go. I don't remember correctly, but YouTubers talked about it. I responded with, I would honestly love to find it, but Google is bringing nothing when it comes to the word combination of Infold CEO and misogynist. I even like tried his full name, I tried controversy, I tried different things. Search bar was giving me nada, nothing. So here we are. I found this video, so it happened in China. If I remember, people don't talk much about it. Sticks that made the video called No Way Love and Deep Space Recover After This. I found the video, a lot of the information there is kind of irrelevant to the video that I'm currently making. For example, part of the controversy was that Infold is calling it Chinese New Year and not Lunar New Year, and therefore other Asian countries that are also celebrating Lunar New Year kind of get upset when it gets referred to as Chinese New Year. The comments were even questioning whether or not that's actually a controversy, considering that Infold is a Chinese company. So when you're saying Happy Chinese New Year, of course, you're talking from your personal perspective first, and you don't really consider other countries too much. So there were like a whole bunch of tiny bits like that that were completely not interested in. So I said, thank you for the name of the video. I will look into it. If you want to look at the full video, you can see the name of it. Just search No Way Love in Deep Space Can Recover from This by Sticks, and you're going to find it. But once again, I most like 80% of the video is not in any way related to what we're going to be talking about today. And they replied with, yes, I think it's important somewhere because it explains why they treat us like shit. So, that video arrived me at this picture. I don't know where this picture is from. So, I tried to screen grab parts of it in order to try and track back at the source or even resemblance of a source. Reverse image searching just the article have led me to a Reddit post with said article in a bit more of a readable shape, rather than very smudged and highly unreadable shape. Still, translate text from images couldn't work out what parts of it said, so I had to find a good AI image enhancer that would enhance this image and make it a bit less blurred and a bit sharper. And that was a journey in itself because majority of AI image enhancers actually decided that Chinese letters are equivalent to squares and that they don't actually need to be accurate. And then I put it into a image to language translator. But if I just click on the translation, yes, we can like zoom in and we can look at what this whole thing is about, but the translation is fairly inaccurate. So instead, I opened it as text because there is a button here and you can do that. And that has given me however much Chinese text this app can decipher from this article inside Chinese newsletter. Then I ran it through multiple Chinese to English translators until I found one that sounds the least like gobbledygook and the most of representing an actual article that you can sort of follow along. That's that's how we arrived here. Do you need to do that much jumping to arrive here? No, 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 no. You could actually have read the original tweet that tweet? It's not really a tweet, it's like a post on a platform that looked similar to Twitter to me, but I guess was in Chinese or was something else because it wasn't quite familiar. And the name of the person making the tweet was Chinese, but the tweet itself was in English. So I don't know where that picture is from, is what I'm trying to say, but you could have you could have definitely just read it and gotten the gist of it. Or when I found a better version of the article, I could have just read it what the Reddit user has said and gotten the gist of it. But I wanted to make sure that somebody hasn't just photographed a Chinese news ad for fish sauce or something similar and is now selling it as controversy because such things can happen. So, the reason why you get to listen to all of this is because I had to do all of that. Okay? Like, if I jump through that much hoop, you bet your ass we're talking about it. I'm sorry. So, I feel like before I talk about the whole content of the article and what all of this is about and why Infold is quite an insidious company, I need to talk about love and deep space and what is the framing for that app and for the game. And honestly, if I just talk about the framing itself, I could already view Infold as a rather insidious company. I don't need to go the extra mile, but we're gonna go the extra mile because the controversy is not just about the app existing. Oh no, it's about how they decided to actually advertise the app and what they told to some of their consumers in China in particular. So, let's first talk about framing. This is an article in the Daily Guardian. And this whole article is small, so I'm just gonna read it. AI boyfriends are the new trend in China, making gaming CEO a billionaire. The AI driven dating game Love and Deep Space has captivated millions, generating 850 million in sales. Its success has made PaperGames founder a billionaire, highlighting the growing demand for AI relationships. This article was posted by February 15th, 2025. I'm pretty sure controversy is a bit before that, but this is just us getting into what love and deep space is, okay? In China, the dating scene is being revolutionized by artificial intelligence as AI based virtual boyfriends become super popular. Shanghai based PaperGames has created the dating simulation game Love and Deep Space, which has taken millions by storm with personalized interactions based on sophisticated AI and voice recognition. One such gamer, 32-year-old Shanghai editor Alicia Wang, has discovered her perfect match in Li Shen, a virtual 27-year-old surgeon who never fails to answer a message or call. Unlike real relationships, these AI boyfriends answer immediately, listen carefully, and never get frustrated, a far cry from many real world partners. But there's one caveat: they only exist in game. Released in January 2024, Love and Deep Space has acquired a huge user base in no time, with about 6 million monthly active users. The game permits players to communicate with five AI created male characters with distinct characteristics and tailored conversations. Supported in Chinese, English, Japanese, and Korean, the game has topped download charts in China and gained an increasing fan base globally. The explosive success of Love in Deep Space has made PaperGames founder and CEO Yao Runhao a billionaire. I can't pronounce those names, so I am very sorry for butchering it. Forbes puts Yao, 37, at an estimated net worth of $1.3 billion thanks to his contributing interest in the company. Paper Games, founded in 2013, generated about 850 million in worldwide sales, with analysts estimating that the privately owned company to be worth more than 2 billion. Gamers enthusiastically spend money on unlocking new experiences and interactions with their AI friends. Wong, for example, has spent 35,000 yuan, about $4,800, on virtual currency since the release of the game. With the increasing demand for companionship from AI, Love and Deep Space has revolutionizing the relationships of today, making online romance a hot business. Now, mind you, I think that this in itself is pretty insidious and pretty dystopian, really. There have been quite a few teenagers that have formed a relationship, a bond with an AI, mostly AI from more conventional services that they ask to role play a specific character. Often it will be a character from a popular show like Game of Thrones, for example. That is a very specific example, but I'm not going to bring up the article in order to honor the deceased. We're not going to talk about it, but we are sort of going to talk about the whole idea of it. They form these bonds and they form these relationships, and as such, as they're spending time forming bonds with what isn't even a person but merely mimics a person, these people they will often shun spending time with actual human beings, which results in even more loneliness and suicidal thoughts creep in, and quite a few people end up taking their lives. Playing with emotional attachment in general and creating something virtual for a person to become attached to while advertising it as a potential replacement for a real human being is a truly dangerous path to go down. It's not a real human being. It's not going to satisfy the needs, your needs, like a real human being is. And yes, human beings are not as responsive as AI is. They're not going to be there every second that you need them because it is a living, breathing person with their own emotions and their own things going on. So they can't always be there for you. And you sometimes also need to be there for them, which isn't as attractive as a proposition of a relationship than an object that will always validate what you want from them, that will always tell you yes, that will create you this dream and this fantasy. But here's the thing, this dream and fantasy, it isn't real. So, profiting from lonely people in these ways is already quite scummy to me. Now, I don't know where I draw the line because I do like visual novels, including visual novels with romantic elements. But I see visual novels with romantic elements more like reading a choose your own adventure book that also includes a relationship. Yes, it isn't real, but also it's not as responsive as AI would be. It's not barraging you with text. It's not trying to pretend to be a person. That is not the service sold. You are in the confines of a story, and you're very well aware that you're in the confines of a story. The story doesn't deviate and it doesn't leave the confines. You can play pretend and you can get very invested in the story, but in the end, the story is a story, the same as reading a romantic novel. Perhaps the fantasy displayed to you in a book is very attractive. Perhaps you can place yourself in the place of the main heroine. Perhaps you can daydream about it, but in the end, you do understand that it is a story, that it has a start and a beginning and an end. A start and a beginning. Yeah, that's one and the same. It has beginning, middle, and end. The story eventually ends. And yes, daydreaming can become a problem for some people, but in the end, you do need to engage with your real life and you do need to engage with people. AI and AI based apps is a bit more insidious because they can try and pull you in and day out in order to interact with them, and they will pretend to be kind of like a person. But the moment you type something, the AI will throw you out an answer, one that you would find pleasing, therefore fulfilling the need of a real relationship. If you are lonely, if you're really lonely and you want to talk about something, you're not going to pick up a book. You're not going to pick up a visual novel. You're more likely to pick up a phone and call somebody. You're more likely to leave your room and talk to your family. You're more likely to try and meet up with friends and have this conversation. But also, now you can text an AI buddy, and the AI buddy will respond instantly while your friend might be busy, while your own family might be in a grumpy mood. It is this kind of instant fulfillment and instant gratification and feeling heard, but you're not developing a connection with a real life person. This isn't the only app, okay? Love in Deep Space isn't like anyway revolutionary in this step. There are a lot of virtual boyfriends and virtual girlfriends for sale as different services. I would lump them all into a nice big round box that is called scummy. That framing alone, and this very cheery framing of AI is revolutionizing dating, as now you can date like not real people. Isn't this like cool? It this whole cheery framing is just making it even more dystopian for me. But now we have laid the foundation as to what the Daily Guardian thinks Love in Deep Space is. I am not entirely sure how much Love in Deep Space is closer to an actual AI boyfriend versus how much is it closer to like a visual novel. I'm gonna guess a bit in between because one things that gacha do utilize quite a lot is trying to get you to log in for dailies. And I have already witnessed games that kind of prod you with hey you, hi, how are you doing, from the game, which just kind of comes off as creepy to me. So I do imagine that that functionality is there. How much can you converse with AI bot? I don't know personally because I do not touch apps like this. I consider them to be not worth the risk. They want you to get emotionally invested. I don't want to get emotionally invested in a fantasy rather than a real person. It might sound cruel, but that's why I have a husband because I do like people. I dated, I got married. He's a wonderful human being. Is he perfect every single day? No. Can he respond to every need of mine? Also not. But same with me. I'm having migraine days, I'm having ill days, I'm having times when my mood is wrong, but you manage that dynamic because it is another human being. It isn't an app on your phone. So we have established what the Guardian, the Daily Guardian, thinks about love in deep space and how they're cheerfully just positioning it as so revolutionary to online dating. Isn't it great? Isn't technology from China so great? So now let's actually get into the controversy bit. We're like 20 minutes in. We can get there right now. So the first tweet said, I'm calling it a tweet. It's not a tweet. I don't know what it is. I don't know on what program this was written, but it was somewhere out in the internet, and whichever part of the internet it was on, I can't actually personally get to it and reach it because I literally can't find it. Infold has released statements degrading women who are the main contributors and players, being they called them being delusional and stupid and deeming women's prices to be equal to the gifts they get from men. So, you know how when you get into a relationship with a man, if you're a woman, the man might be inclined to give you financial gifts. Like, here, have a necklace. The dinner is on me. And such things like that. Some people use this. Some people don't like this dynamic at all. Some people are just generally generous people and will make it almost equal. Like one day you buy me dinner, the next day I buy you dinner. Like it can be an equal exchange, which is kind of nice. There's nothing wrong with somebody just being generous towards you. I don't think that it should be like a social expectation, and a lot of people feel like it is a social expectation, which kind of makes it a bit of a sort of thing. There's also the thing that in China, when you're getting married, you technically are supposed to give your bride quite a large gift. So normally, when you're getting married, the regular expectation is that it is the boy's side that will provide the living space, aka the apartment or a house, which tends to be a very expensive purchase. But at the same time, brides tend to bring in furniture and other things for the house. So their family is also expected to contribute in one way or another. So in the end, both families are kind of contributing, but the whole like getting the house or like a proper wage on top of the house is up to the husband. So there is kind of the material expectation from the man. Now, Infold looked at this and said that when you're dating a virtual boyfriend, the material expectation remains, and it is similar to that the material expectation of a woman when she is dating or marrying a man, but instead it is the woman who has to give money to this AI virtual boyfriend. Like that is the material expectation. In my opinion, social antics on gift giving aside, that doesn't make sense because a virtual boyfriend is a piece of technology running inside your phone. It doesn't need sustenance, it doesn't need a place to live. It cannot use any physical goods that you would give it. What they mean is that they want this corporation running an app wants your money, and in their opinion, it is the equivalent of getting a gift given to you during your dating period. This has infuriated many Chinese women, and Infold was mentioned on newspaper and Chinese social media platforms, making Infold apologize and delete their statements. But this goes deeper because it wasn't on just like one statement, it was on how they were advertising the whole game. So, this is the relevant part. We're gonna try and read really broken translations later on, but this is like the relevant comment and the relevant part because somebody asked, what is it, the scandals that you're mentioning? What exactly are these? So everything is in Chinese. Infold deleted all the evidence because, yes, they did. Everything on any kind of social media platform about this in Chinese is entirely gone. The only reason why the article is not gone is because it is on a piece of paper inside a paper newspaper. You can't really delete a paper newspaper, and hence the whole thing kind of gets resurfaced and can be resurfaced. I'm so thankful that newspapers are still a thing. Even did a smear campaign against its player to set an example, but the scandal was blown out of proportion, so they apologized, but with no remorse. This is the best I could find. If you're interested, Infold made a series of advertisements that depicts its players as having no love in real life, that they're materialistic, and love the three men in Love and Deep Space. This was a long time ago now, because they're very rich. Female players are loud and rude, detached from reality, and introduces their love and deep space boyfriend to their mother as soon as son-in-law in literal sense. As in they truly are believed that they're gonna marry an app. They hate on each other for taking each other's husbands. Women's worth is defined by the husband, basically. All stereotypes you could find about women and female gamers. So, to make this clear, because this Reddit post is actually very much resembling what is in the article, but the article, even with the best translation that I have, is really, really hard to read. So, this is a very good sum up. In summary, Infold ran a promotional campaign for Love in Deep Space inside of China, where they portrayed women as being unable to find love in real life, being very materialistic, vain, and crass people that couldn't get along with people in their environment, that fall in love with a virtual boyfriend because their background looks really good and he's presented as like a rich person. They then introduce this boyfriend to their mothers as their future son-in-law, as if they're actually gonna be marrying an app. And when they meet each other, they start fights because all of them are into the same virtual boyfriend, and they're blaming each other for stealing their husbands away because it is their ideal perfect husband. That did not go down well in China. It really didn't go down well in China. I mean, you don't get a newspaper article on a video game every single day. There was another scandal. A male employee made a post in public that female players who are free to play should shut the fuck up because no pay, no demand. So you have to put in money in order to be a legitimate player. So once again, I did that whole enhancing thing. I put it into a translator AI that didn't do a great job. So I grabbed this whole page's words, the readable words from it, and I just shoved it into a separate translator, which sounds sort of accurate, but that Reddit post is as good as you're gonna get because this sounds like that is what it's referencing, but it's very hard to read because AI translation and actual just like direct machine translation will never be perfect. You normally want human beings for that. So, ads for romance mobile games draw ire. Don't treat rotten values as treasures. Live action advertisement centered around companionship, focused on three scenarios. Several women are on the bus for a tour. Now, we're gonna have sentences that mean absolutely nothing, okay? So just we're trying to get the gist of it. Fish doctor prices them as staples and thought. When drawing family pictures, treat the game characters as when the game character is treated as partners, this year's female protagonist is the guide. The unjustly warm dragon is broken, the most playful. Critically and with free spirited women in. On the aspect of emotional and physical defense mechanisms, they have gained a lot of autonomy. And the advertisement content is not representative of the current real situation. So we're back to like actual advertisement. This sounds like somebody's promotional things, suppressing smoking behavior. This group of advertisements has upset many female players. Players are unhappy and claim they will uninstall. For non game players, watching ads also bring a certain degree of discomfort. Discomfort, again, will use such a necessary story. The expression and the value of the blind view. Adopt fixed methods and users. Group. For users, factory announcements are not. It's more like an offense than a flattery. There you go. You can get a gist that something upsetting is happening around a video game that is also to do with the adverts that got shown in the country, but it's you're not gonna get a good translation out of a machine. Regarding this, on February 18th, the official microblog also issued a statement of dedication, especially intolerable. Yes, it also operates on the female group. The area is also being transformed. After watching the ad, that's it. He broke the girl's heart, shattering her world. A solution is to remain silent, evaluate yourself. The basis for everlasting whether one is superior or not is whether one has received the Zhang Dao Crogbreaker Award, when in real life this doesn't happen. The oppressed woman, but advertisements are ultimately aimed at the public. To the public, not just a few people. Take Grandpa to see the doctor, similar to Binding of Isaac. Games like Saint Field the Game for users. Psychologically, there is a subtle sense of withdrawal, and it also long term exploitation of human nature's key points. The text you provided appears to be a random string of characters or words that do not form a coherent sentence in Chinese. Could you please clarify or provide more context? Increased T. Users can establish emotional connections with characters in the context. Establish emotional connections with the characters. Star's inner thoughts, but when the production team plans. Of course, watch it quickly. Back this set of ads can be ranked among the best. In society, there is a certain level of acceptance, but this increase in the objectification of women now has already affected the new generation of women. Not at all, not even a bit. Greasy, under this purpose, that is, people do not show. Young body differentiation, value oriented. In the era of value driven transformation, we cannot just record what has already been recorded. Day after day, it hasn't been able to hit. A pair of twins posted on the forum, hurry, you're in North 1 need. The woman does not pretend. Can users do not have the talent? That is about all of the coherent, relevant bit that you're gonna get from this article. But you can catch the gist that when we enhanced this and ran it through machine translation, women are unsatisfied about the ads running for Infold's game that are portraying an unfavorable and unrealistic scenario in which the women are also feeling like they're being objectified. And there is an outrage because this ad is shown to the general public. It's not like targeting a very one specific individual. Everyone can see it, and everybody felt a lot of discomfort about it. So it kind of aligns with what the Reddit post said the ads were, but it took a while to get here. And obviously, getting your information off AI translation of an AI enhanced picture of a newspaper is rather difficult, but at the very least, I can sort of verify what this says. And by the gist of it, it seems very similar to what the Reddit post said. And by the gist of it, it seemed very similar to what the original, like, social media about this outrage said. So, unfortunately, the trail has gone completely cold, and that all that we have of this whole thing left is a newspaper article because the internet got kind of script clean. So this is like the most backtracking that you can do. I will provide you guys to the link to like the original Reddit write up, which has a pretty good picture of this. So if you can speak Chinese and you want to translate the whole article by yourself, you are very welcome to do so because you would probably do such a much better job than the multiple translators that I tried to utilize. But I am very happy that this isn't just like a random post about fish sauce. It is actually the article that we expect it to be, meaning that yes, this happened. And as this happened in China, people outside of China has never heard of it. Can you see why I see Infold slash Paper Games as a very insidious company? But once again, that's corporations for you. I don't really expect them to be anything else. So just don't fall into the mentality that corporations are your friends. They're not. They will often dehumanize you. They will often portray you in an unfavorable light. They will often consider you to be stupid. They will break the laws where they can because these are profit driven corporations. It's not just one individual, it's a whole individuals that try to squeeze as much money out of anyone as possible in any way, shape, or form possible. Corporations in general are just not very trustworthy. So do not develop emotional attachment to a product and then go, oh, the product is so good. It makes the company behind it so good. A company is still a company. Remember that. Protect yourself. When a product stops being good, be not afraid to move on. If you see a corporation breaking laws in your country, be not afraid to complain and be not afraid to push back on them because if you don't, they will walk over you. They don't have your best interests at hand. And normally, anyone for whom this isn't their first rodeo will know it, but newer generation won't until they will, until they do experience a scummy corporation, and then they realize how corporations are. So, in the end, that's it. That's the video. Thank you for sticking with me so long. I hope that it has been useful. I wouldn't mind if you did circulate the picture of the article in particular, figure out what it says, and inform non Chinese people that this has happened. That, well, Infold isn't a saint. They're not any better than other corporations. They're not somehow charitable. They don't love you for being a woman. they're there to extract money from you, and I think their advertisement strategy says everything that you need to know on how they view you as a human being. Now, if you like videos such as these, feel free to see what my channel has to offer, as I do all sorts of videos. I cover a lot of video games. I sometimes cover occult. I sometimes even cover tabletop RPGs. If you like what you see, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed or have dedicated this much time to me by just listening to me rant for 38 minutes, thank you so, so, so much. I hope I'm gonna see you in my other videos, and thank you so much for my Patreon supporters that allow me to engage in this wonderful hobby of playing video games. And also, thank you for the user that I'm gonna keep as anonymous for directing me in the right directions that kind of just put me on this whole clue trail, because that was definitely very interesting several hours of my life as I was trying to just put steps together and figure out where we're going. So then, thank you for watching. I hope I'm gonna see you the next time. Toodaloo.